Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Dream. Tonight is February the 9th. It is, of course, Monday because that's the night that we meet for the It's All Good Circle. As you can see from my background, I'm not in Idaho. This was a picture we took a couple of days ago in Bryce Canyon, and we're now set up here in Lake Powell. We'll be someplace new for all of the coming this week and the following 3 or 4 weeks. So it'll be fun. And if you remember that game, Where's Waldo? It'll be Where's Dr. Dream and Stephanie? Lots going on. I'm going to keep just our stuff very brief. We left a few days ago for it's a 5-week trip, and it was crazy. And then as soon as we drove out of the driveway, it was like, okay, everything's fine. And I love how that works. And the buildup was nuts. And I did bottle 686 essential oil roll-ons and labeled them and everything like that. And so it was exciting. But so much is going on. I really just want us to dive into tonight's topic, which the topics, I get to come up with them unless anyone makes a suggestion, and they are all incredibly meaningful for me. And this one particularly because it became the topic for my blog, Musings by Dr. Dream, and made its way into the newsletter last night. And so it's been a topic. We had a topic 2 weeks ago that was how to get away from the programming, that we're all being programmed. And we talked about that a little bit. And so tonight's topic is let's hear about your self-programming. And for my part of this, I'm just going to read what I put together for the for my blog and for the newsletter. Our greatest defense is a strong offense, proactive with self-programming. We live in a world saturated with programming. From the moment we enter the womb, we are absorbing information. Babies in utero respond to stress hormones, emotional states, and even the tone of voices around their mother. Before we ever take our first breath, we are already forming energetic and neurological impressions about what life feels like. Then we are born into families, cultures, religions, school systems, media environments, and social structures that all carry beliefs, fears, expectations, and limitations. Some of this programming is supportive. Much of it is unconscious, outdated, and or fear-based. Add to that modern life, news cycles designed to trigger emotion, social media engineered to capture attention, advertising that tells us we are not enough unless we buy something, entertainment that often normalizes chaos, division, and scarcity. It is constant, subtle, and relentless. And here is the key truth. If we are not intentionally programming ourselves, we are being programmed by default. There is no neutral. There is no pause button. Input is always happening. That's why our greatest defense is actually a strong offense, not in a combative sense, but in a conscious, proactive sense. We choose what goes into our mind, our nervous system, our heart, and our field. And so I want to touch on, as my part of tonight, how I practice self-programming. One of the most powerful things I do is create content that is also my own self-programming. Everything I write, speak, and share is first something I need to hear and anchor in myself. My projects like PLEL, Positive, Loving, Energetic Loopers, In the Face of Adversity, Quantum Alliance D Squared, this circle, the It's All Good Circle, and my weekly musings are not just offerings to others. They are intentional reinforcement of the reality I choose to live in, a reality based on possibility, resilience, connection, and service. Even the physical environment matters. In our own living space, we have a huge neon sign. It's 79 inches across and at least 3 feet tall. And it reads, "Welcome to our dream world. Everything is possible. Dream it, live it." And it is the focal point for many of our activities in our barn dominium. And it's not just a decoration. That in and of itself is programming, a visual affirmation that we see every single day. In addition to seeing it every single day, once a week, we do ceremony, sacred ceremony, where that is one of the focuses during our ceremony. My conversations with Stephanie are another form of conscious input. We talk about dreams, expansion, gratitude, what is unfolding in our lives. Those conversations reinforce possibility instead of fear. I also plug into uplifting community spaces. Most recently, Mickey Willis, who made the film Plandemic and many other films, has a Thursday evening online gathering that is mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing in the most positive way. And the tone is connection and higher perspective rather than division and outrage. And a part of my self-programming comes from service, supporting others through a project I have for EE system owners called EE Support, through the Quantum Wellness Recharge, which several of you are part of, and other projects keep my focus on contribution, healing, and solutions. Service programs the heart with meaning and the mind with purpose. So self-programming goes all the way into the physical. Self-programming is not only mental or emotional, it is energetic and physical too. It shows up in what we surround ourselves with, what we touch, what we smell, and even what we wear. The colors we choose to put on our bodies matter. Different colors resonate with different energy centers. I often talk about dressing for the chakras. Wearing red can help anchor and stabilize. Orange can support creativity and flow. Yellow can stimulate confidence and personal power. Green and pink can open the heart. Blue can encourage clear expression. Indigo and violet can support intuition and connection to higher guidance. When you dress with awareness, you are literally wrapping your energy field in a chosen frequency. You're dressing for the chakras. Essential oils, which I have just slathered on myself for about the last week, are a powerful form of self-programming. Scent goes straight to the limbic system, the emotional and memory centers of the brain. When you use oils intentionally, whether for grounding, calming, uplifting, or opening the heart, you're training your nervous system to associate certain states with certain aromas. Over time, the body begins to shift more easily into those states. That is conscious conditioning in a beautiful, supportive way. The objects we wear or carry can also hold programmed meaning. A bracelet, a necklace, a stone, a token from a meaningful experience. These can all become anchors. When you assign them significance, meditate with them, or simply hold them with intention, they become physical reminders of who you choose to be and what you choose to believe. Every time you touch or see them, you reinforce that inner narrative. Even your environment participates in your self-programming. Art on the walls, words on signs, the way a room feels. These are all inputs. They are either reinforcing stress and distraction or calm and possibility. When you begin to see your clothing, your scents, your objects, and your surroundings as part of your inner dialogue, life itself becomes a supportive feedback loop. Your outer world starts reminding you all day long of the frequencies you are choosing to live in. Back in 1994, I named my company It's All Good Companies. And my favorite thing was when people said, "Who do I make the check out to?" And I would say, "You get it right. It's all good on your check." And, just saying it's all good all the time, reinforcing a message that I needed to hear to offset all the other messages that were surrounding me. Self-programming does not have to be complicated. It is about consistent conscious choices. It can look like meditation and yoga, which help reset the nervous system and create space between stimulus and response. It can look like not engaging in draining social media debates or endless doom scrolling. I made a commitment to myself last year to no longer get involved in discussions on social media, trying to talk people into my point of view, or even sharing too much of my point of view about things that people want to fight over. I'm like, I don't need to put that out there anymore. And I had been doing that. What we do not consume is just as important as what we do. It can mean limiting time with people who are deeply identified with victimhood and constantly reinforcing powerlessness. I cannot hang out with people who play the victim all the time, and I'll call them out on it. And if they continue to do it, I go out of my way not to spend time with them. Compassion does not require immersion in low frequency narratives. I still love these people. I'll still be there to help them, but I'm not their, victim bitch. It can include listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and music that expand perspective and uplift the spirit. I'm very particular now about the music that I listen to and what the lyrics are. And there are certain artists that I play over and over and over again because the lyrics are so powerful for me that I literally feel my entire being vibrating. Like when I listen to Lucas Mack and other artists where it's just, they're literally speaking to my soul, and it's messages I can listen to over and over and over again. It can mean choosing conscious media, stories of resilience, creativity, and possibility instead of constant crisis-based content. I'm no longer chasing those stories that, while they may be interesting and this and that, they're not addressing what I really want to be hearing. They're addressing some lower interests of mine that are not the frequency that I choose to bathe myself in. At the deepest level, self-programming is about mindset and belief systems. Our beliefs act like invisible filters. They determine what we notice, how we interpret events, and what we think is possible for us. If someone holds the belief that life is a struggle, they will constantly find evidence to support that. If someone holds the belief that life is happening for them and not to them, they will start to see opportunities, support, and meaning in places they used to only see problems. Beliefs are not just thoughts. They are repeated thoughts charged with emotion, practiced so often they become our baseline. So they become the baseline of where we live, of where we act from. Owning your baseline means becoming aware of the emotional and mental set points you return to again and again. Is your baseline stress or trust, scarcity or possibility, self-doubt or self-worth? Once you see your baseline, you can begin to shift it intentionally through affirmations, conscious focus, gratitude, meditation, and aligned action. You are slowly retraining your system to normalize higher states like peace, confidence, joy, and expectancy of good outcomes. What once felt rare starts to feel familiar. What once felt impossible starts to feel natural. This is where self-programming meets what I call living in the quantum field. In the quantum field, you are not just reacting to reality. We are participating in shaping it. It's the responsibility we're taking for ourselves. Our dominant thoughts, emotions, and expectations act like instructions. When we repeatedly rehearse possibility, coherence, and alignment, we begin to resonate with experiences that match those frequencies. Living in the fifth dimension is another way of describing this shift. It is moving from a survival based, fear driven way of living into a more heart centered, unity based awareness. In this state, we are less controlled by old conditioning and more guided by intuition, compassion, and inner knowing. We still live in the same world. We still have responsibilities and challenges, but our internal operating system has changed. We're no longer running on inherited programming. We are consciously choosing the beliefs, emotions, and perspectives that align with the version of reality we are choosing to help create. You are the programmer now. At some point, we move from being shaped primarily by unconscious programming to becoming conscious creators of our own inner environment. We cannot control everything happening in the world, but we can absolutely influence what we rehearse in our minds, what emotions we repeatedly activate, and what beliefs we strengthen through repetition. Self-programming is not denial, it is direction. It is saying, I see the noise, but I choose the signal. I see the fear, but I choose alignment. I see the chaos, but I choose to anchor into what I know to be true inside. That is not passive, that is powerful. Our greatest defense is a strong offense, a daily, loving, intentional practice of feeding our minds and hearts the frequencies we actually want to live in. And the beautiful part is this: when you consciously program yourself for possibility, resilience, and love, you become living evidence for others that a different way of being is possible too. So I want to thank you for allowing me to read that. That was longer than what I normally present, but it is powerful for me. And it is such an important aspect of how Stephanie and I live our lives. And I have to point this out. Stephanie and I have been together 9.5 years. We celebrated our 5th wedding anniversary yesterday. And I am incredibly fortunate to have a partner like Stephanie who shares this same mindset, because we get to play off of each other in all of this, and we get to, call each other out, and it's not just me. I tend to think she does a fair amount of calling me out when I slip and I'm in a different space. And so happy anniversary, Stephanie. And this is the point where I would normally say, okay, Phil, but Phil's not here. So Destiny, I'm going to let you go ahead, and I'm passing you the baton.
Okay. Such a good subject. I love this subject. Because we really do have so much say in how we experience our life. And I think it started really young for me, being born an American. I was told that I was free to be who I wanted to be and live my life how I wanted to live my life, and I always thought that was something I wanted to take advantage of, and um, it's definitely a journey of figuring out who you are and how to be free in that. And I also tend to see the world through my own perspective. I like to even sometimes say that I live in my own world, because I view the world as this magical, beautiful place. And even though that people can say all of these bad things happen, I see the beauty in duality, and I feel the relief after the pain, and I appreciate just so much the full spectrum of everything that this life gets to be. And so it really helps take away a lot of the judgment of the things that are less than painful. And I like to think that we get to experience things so on such a deep level in this human existence. I think when you look at the things that we go through, pain and suffering and things like that are different outside of a human perspective. And I think it's truly a blessing to experience those things in this life. And one of the things that I've really been using to shape my experience in the last 6 months or so is trying to live through the mindset of love over fear. And when I'm looking at a decision or a feeling that I'm struggling with or something, I really try to decide, well, what is really communicating to me right now? What am I responding to? And how am I going to consciously respond to that? And that's really made a big difference for me. And then going through this pregnancy and looking forward to the labor and delivery. I've also been doing some different breath work to help get through pain and discomfort, and that's going to be really big for the labor and delivery for me. So, learning how to breathe and how to relax is a huge part of that experience for me, and also visualization. So feeling the things that I'm going through and channeling them into something that is really beautiful and tolerable is going to make a big difference for me, I think. So those are my perspectives on the subject for now.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Destiny. I love hearing this from you. Susie, I've been to your home. I talk to you almost every day. I'm super excited to hear your take on all of this because I am. So you're up.
Well, everything you said is is a, is true for me as well. Every room, several objects in the room, anything I can look at, it reminds me that I am not my thoughts. I am not this body. I am not the media. I am not anything that is outside of me. And I walked a gentleman through a great meditation, which is that I wrote today. And it was about, stripping away all those identities that we wear. It's like it's everything. My name, that I'm a woman, all of it. It's like protector, victim, all of those parts that I've played in my life is like that. None of that is who I am. And so when you strip all that away, it's like what's left is the awareness and the conscious behind it that is looking out at all this projection. And so I have reminders everywhere in my house because I was not always this way. And so people come in and they may not understand all of it and they start asking me some questions. And I say, well, these are training wheels. These are training wheels for consciousness in that my trees have jewelry on them. It's like I've got all these, I've been collecting these sun catchers and they're like long, single with little baubles. They're so, Amazon has so many of them and they're so pretty. And today it was sunny out and I went out and it's like my apple tree, it's naked because I pruned it, but it's just lit up because the sun is bouncing off this glass and it's like shooting little rainbows all over my yard and it's just it's whimsical and magical and beautiful and everything in my yard I've planted with care and love, and also to make sure I can drive around it with my riding lawnmower, uh, leave enough space around things so that I can get around it. But it's like my gardens, all my gardens have uh, little toys and colorful things and things that spin and things that are on the trees, and it's like the outside becomes the inside, and I adorn all my trees with this tree jewelry. Um, and then I have my sayings, and I'm on my vibration plate, and I'm listening to the quantum D2 R2D2 boosts, and they're wonderful. And I've got other audiobooks that are just uplifting. I completely bypassed the news. I did hear all the fireworks last night, so I know that we won the Seahawks game, and or the championship, whatever that's called, that thing, that everybody goes so big for. And there was big fireworks, and it was a big deal. And I go, oh yay, good. People will be happy for a little while, for a minute. It's like it's like whatever it takes. It's like okay. So, but I feel like I live in a bubble over here. All my reading material, the music that I listen to, the jewelry. I have jewelry too. You should recognize this, Dr. Dream. You should recognize this. Twisted sage. And I just, it's like my wall is filled with things and people and um, ascended masters and uh, my flowers and my bushes and everything. It's like everything, the food that I cook, the music that I play, and I'm dancing while I'm cooking, and um, I feel very grateful for being able to uh, have my expression in the way that I do in my surroundings. And then I carry that with me when I go. I have this great, um, what do you call those things? I'm all blurry again. Ooh. Um, it's a, let's see, what is it? Organite. Yes, I have an organite thing with 3 copper rings in my car on my dashboard. And so it's like, it doesn't matter. And so it connects me to my house, and it connects me to everything that I'm doing and everything that I want to keep myself reminded for when I'm out in my car and riding around in my bubble machine there. My cat, um, he's magic. Yes, you are. You're magic. Yes. And, candles and jewelry and oh my gosh, this guy. And so, I mean, I do, I'm starting to try to do things differently to break the habit of being myself in the morning. It's like it was easy for me to get up and just get my phone and start scrolling. And it's like, I'm not doing that now. It's like I get up and I immediately go to my double matted PEMF on the floor that I have. And I sandwich myself in there for 24 minutes. And my cat lays on top of me. And he loves it. He just loves it. And it's a high intensity, so you can feel the pulsing. And so after that, I feed him. And then, yes, I do. Uh, my little fluff butt. So he is the joy of my life here, and he's always in a good mood, except, he yells at me in the morning sometimes, but that's okay. He's got kind of a cute voice and a cute face. So I do, there isn't very many moments in my day that I allow myself to slip out of alignment. And when I do, it's like I recognize it and I'm going, oh yeah, okay, so I see what's happening here. But I just, it's like it's a new, it's like I'm having this challenge with myself to see how many ways and times I can keep myself aligned, not in a compulsory kind of a way, but because it's a choice, because I want to, and it feels good. And even my grumpy girlfriend, she's getting, it's like I talk to her on the phone, and even her attitude is changing, and she's getting in a better mood. And I think it's because I'm staying, non-judgmental towards her, because she's got a good heart. And, and it really doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing, or, you know, um, what kind of despicable things. It's like the essence, we're all the same. It's just that, the mind gets distorted through years of misinformation, and lies, and so we live, so people are living in a place that they're not even aware of it. I think more people are starting to get aware of it, but it's like, I'm not much of a Bible reader, but forgive them, they know not what they do. And that's the truth. They don't know what they're doing. And it's like, I didn't know what I was doing for a long time too. So I got no room to criticize anybody. That's for sure. Let's see, what else? Anything else? I don't know. You said it all pretty much, Dr. Dream. It's like, I know you walked in here and I saw you kind of looking around, and it's like I have all these things everywhere in my house, and I know that and I look at your Bardo, whatever it's called over there, that you've got your Bernardo, whatever, and it's just filled with stuff and lights and flashing things and toys and fun, magic. Yeah. Magic. I like the magic. I like the whimsical things in my yard. And like the more sun catchers, you can never go wrong with sun catchers. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it.
Well, I want to add, by the way, thank you for all of that. And yes, when Stephanie and I walked into your place, I already knew that, like energy attracts like energy, and love energy attracts love energy. And so that's why we ended up at your place. And then just looking at everything from the EE system cube to everything on the walls to all the crystal pyramid hanging, just everything. I was just like, it was almost more, I don't go into, it was like I found my match in terms of an energetic that lives the way that I do. But you and I already knew that. And it's amazing. And so I thank you for sharing all of that. And I think I just have to say that part of my programming is reading your writings. That it is part of my self-programming, and I'm now back to taking the time. I got so caught up in everything that I missed several weeks of your writings, just because of my own life. And now I'm back to making sure that I don't miss anything. And it is part of my self-programming, as I know it is for many other people that follow you. And I want to personally thank you for that. So we're going to
my writing too. Yeah. How can I forget that?
Please.
Because I haven't written for a couple of days. That's why I forgot it. But yeah, that keeps me plugged in all day sometimes. I dance with it. I wear it like a warm, comfortable blanket, and I let it wash goodness and love all over me. And it's like, that's what my writing does for me. Yeah. Okay. All right. That was it. I forgot my writing. How can I do that?
And what it does for the rest of us. All right. So now at this point, I've got Gail going next. Gail, there you are.
Okay. So I listen to a lot of uplifting YouTube videos. I find wisdom in the weirdest places. When reading Richard Bach's Illusions, one of the quotes that has stuck with me is that you can find wisdom anywhere, in the Wall Street Journal, in your anatomy textbook, in Richard Bach's work, in music and that sort of thing. And so one of the things that I do is I deliberately look for the things that are going to return me to self. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's a piece of cake. But there's a really interesting phenomenon. As as Dr. Dream and Susie were talking about their space and how many things you have in the space, and that are training wheels for consciousness, and whether they're training wheels or they make you happy, it doesn't matter. And I know that I used to be surrounded by and have tons of stuff like that. And what has happened is I put them in, they're now going into boxes, because now when I'm conscious, I don't need them in my physical space anymore. I know they're still in the box, and that gives me a sense of security. So if I feel like I need to get them out, then I can. But I don't have 30 crystals hanging in the window anymore. I only have like 4 or 5. And the stones that I used to have, at one point I went through the house and I gathered up all the stones and I gave them all away, and I gave away something like 1,000 stones, and of which there were maybe 10 duplicates. There were little tiny things and a few big things, and but it was time for them. They did what they needed to do for me, and then it was time for them to move forward to the next person. And that is where I'm at with all sorts of things, is that now my task is to be aware of, as we let go of the baggage. I've still got a bunch of baggage, as is obvious from the conversation that I had with Sylvie a minute ago, or 10 minutes ago. There's still stuff in there, but I don't need to carry that stuff and the things in the suitcases and the moving boxes and on the shelf, and I don't need to dust around it. And so as I unclutter my life, the emotional baggage becomes clearer, and then it's getting easier to actually look at it. I have found myself doom scrolling, and it finally dawned on me today. I'm very brave when I'm addictively playing an app game. I don't have any problem when I recognize the dopamine rush when I play that game. I uninstall it. So why do I not have that discipline with doom scrolling? And it dawned on me this morning that that's the addiction. That's where the current addiction has landed, is in doom scrolling. So I'm going to be working on that this week. And maybe I'll just pull out a book instead, and put my phone in another room, so I'm less likely to unconsciously open it up and look and go, oh, they have a new blah. I don't need to do that. And so, I listen to audios, I listen to music, I talk to people. I don't have a lot of people in my life. Obviously, I don't have a spouse to sit and have these conversations with. And certainly the people at work as far as I can tell, they're not ready for it, so I don't try. But, I find soft, gentle people everywhere, and I'm making more of an effort to connect, at least on a, are you doing okay? And kind of way. I don't know, how do I self-program? I used to do tons of it. I mean, when I was in grad school, I did lots and lots of self-programming because I felt at that point like I was broken. And then I got better, so I needed less and less of it. And I go through cycles where I spend time going back over and over the same one or two or three or four sentences because they hit really hard, or they drove me to tears. And so when I've gone over and I've gotten to the meat of whatever it was that struck me so deeply, then I can change the programming to something that's better. And deeper. That said, I still like crystals and rainbows and quotes on the wall, and tarot cards and Reiki, and friends that hold my feet to the fire occasionally. And people that don't let me dance around an issue. Because I understand, that's what we did growing up. And so it's still in there as a habit. Less so now than it used to be, but it's still there. And so I very much appreciate the people who go, and why are you avoiding that topic? So, and how could you reprogram that? I don't have anything else to add.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate that. Love hearing all of this. Sylvie, let's hear from our dearest Sylvie south of the border.
Here we go. Yeah, programming. I can relate with so many you all said before, like, and you, Dr. Dream, you had already such a long list. Yes, I do so. I surround myself with beautiful little things, crystals, pictures. I really love to be creative. This is for me the same as I do meditations, to really program myself to come in a silent, peaceful space. And yeah, paint what I feel or what comes through me. Often before I start to paint, I even don't know what I'm going to do. And then funny enough, after I look up, the last picture I painted was something with a gecko, and then I was thinking, why I'm painting a gecko? And then I was looking up, what is the spiritual meaning of it? And then it made totally sense. It was protection and prosperity. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So there is something in our subconsciousness what is already working in a beautiful direction, what I feel. The other thing is what you mentioned, even the colors of clothes is something, even the colors of the bed sheets. I love my purple bed sheets. And it's like, it feels so good. And I don't like to sleep in white bed sheets. And being in service is a big thing, even to program myself in a way, because every time if I do guided meditations, healing session, ancestor healing, there is something what changed in me too. There's something what heals in me too. It's not only the client or the group. It's within me at the same time, and that's the beauty of being in service. Even if it would be to help an elderly person over the street, something is healing within me. And journaling is a big part, because I start every morning to write down what I'm grateful for, what makes me happy, what is like the little things, even that I can live here, that I can have a fresh coffee in the morning, or that I have just a roof over my head, what I can call my home. It's so precious for me. And the other thing is even taking care of my home energetically, to cleanse my home with sage, with copal, and really taking care of it, that there stays good, lightful, loving energy in this home, that everybody feels welcome. What else? Oh, there's so much. What I think often we even do something where we are not aware that this is a part of our programming. Reflection, to reflect on myself, to reflect on the day, to see where can I do better, where I can connect more to my higher self, to live this higher self, this authentic version of me. And what is still unfolding, because I feel myself often like I'm the onion and I have to shed peel for peel for peel. And it keeps on going, but it's so beautiful at the other times. And another part is really to live in the moment, to don't hang on the past, to really be in the moment, enjoy the here, the now, enjoy at this moment the all is good circle with all of you. Yes, that feels so good to know that we are coming together every Monday. Wow, what a blessing. And thank you for Dr. Dream for doing this. And oh, there's another thing, like with programming and reprogramming. Reprogramming is a part of my programming, really reprogramming all the different rules I played, and instead just being the authentic me. There is no need to play other rules. There is no need to be, oh, here I'm being this and there I'm being that, and here I'm pleasing there, here I'm pleasing there. No, I prefer more and more to be just the authentic version, and there is only this version. And if people don't like this version, okay, then they need to look for a different person. That's what it is. It's only me in this version. Or it's me in this version. Yes, I think that's the best one. Yeah. And I just have a little list here. Oh, what I really love what you said, Destiny, love over fear. Yes, love over fear. And it's really something where I know that connected to fear is being hurt. And it's like feeling it's a broken heart. And from there we go in the fear, oh, this can be happen again, but what is if I just stay in love? And I really go with this. Yes. And listen to specific music. This I do for really long time. It started with, as I saw the first time and was reading about Dr. Masaru Emoto. I think we all know about him. He was really, really amazing, and he did a really great step in scientific proof that water carries memory. And as I heard this, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm more than 80% out of water. And before I was listening to every kind of music, metal, let's start with the worst one, punk, rap, and all this stuff. And right now, for me, it's really, really important to listen to music where I can feel my heart is filled, where I can feel I've been nourished in the most beautiful way, like uplifting music. And connected to the music is like one of the most beautiful things to do is to learn my flute. Every time if I play the flute, I feel so much peace and freedom. It's like, wow, connecting to earth, being in the nature. Yeah. There's a lot we can do. And even taking care of our thoughts, really looking and checking on every time. That's one thing what I'm doing daily, really checking on what I'm thinking there. Huh, why you thought this? And then figuring out, just replace it with, I wonder. Anyway, thank you for this beautiful circle.
Thank you, Sylvie. Appreciate you so much. Stephanie? So this is fun. Stephanie and I are normally not ever in the same exact space, and all I have to do is look over and I see her 5 feet away from me.
All right. I guess it's my turn. Oh, there we go. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, sweet. It's weird with the headphones on because they have noise canceling. Maybe if I turn it off. Off. Okay, I can. No, it's weird. Okay, one headphone. Um, um, so I love what everybody is saying, and like I totally agree with like all of it. I have a new favorite artist that I've been listening to. I'm gonna write it in the chat when I'm done so everybody can check it out. Their name is East Forest. No lyrics. Okay, sometimes there's words. Sometimes like there's actually really good words, but it's like, anyways, it's very chill. Like it's kind of like the music you would listen to like when you're drinking tea and like stretching in the morning. Um, and I'm just absolutely loving it because it like calms me, you know? Uh, but I want to share a story about this is years ago, but where I was self-programming in a way that I was starting to create and manifest something that I didn't want. Because I think that it's really important that we be aware of not only what we want, but of the things that might slip in that are things that we don't want that we end up feeding, um, unintentionally until all of a sudden we get wrapped up in it and then we find ourselves and we're like, oh my gosh, how is this happening to me? So it was in 2016. I started having some health problems. And I would get this like excruciating pain, like excruciating in like my female reproductive area. It felt like to the point where like I would have to go home from work, and I could just like the only thing I could do is like lay there in a ball and like hold my stomach and like just like basically be in agony, but I could do nothing more than that. Like that was my max capacity, was just to like lay there and suffer. Uh, and I kept wondering like what's going on with me? Like I'm sick, there's something wrong with me. I went to go see doctors and try to figure out like get to the bottom of it, and I just kept thinking to myself, "Oh man, I'm sick." And then one day, I'm like, "What are you doing? You know better than this. If you tell yourself you're sick, you're gonna be sick. Like, what is wrong with you right now? Stop, please stop." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're right. Why are you programming yourself to be sick? That's a terrible thing. You don't want to be sick." Um, and so I had that epiphany. And it was that next week that I was able to figure out the trigger to the illness. Which until I had like realized like, like you gotta be open to figuring out the cause so that way you can like let it go. It ended up in my case that I had been drinking too much caffeine and I ended up with adrenal fatigue. And anytime that I would drink the caffeine, it would make me ill because my adrenal glands were so fatigued that the caffeine just like was too much. It was more than my body could handle. Um, and until I realized that like I wasn't sick, there was some outer force involved, like I was sick. And it was like a crazy thing because I've always kind of been clued into the, like your belief systems create reality, like what you focus on attracts. And so it was fairly profound for me to have that type of an experience. Um, and so I just want to like just make sure that we all like as we're like really focused on things that we want to make sure that we're not allowing anything that we don't want into our fields. Uh, so anyways, I don't know. I don't know exactly why I shared that, but I did. Um, I feel super, 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 super blessed that I found Mr. Dr. Dream to marry and live my life with. I remember the first time that I heard him speak. He was doing an event. It was one of the 111 Bowl experiences. And he's sitting up there and he's just talking about all these different belief systems and like ideas and, like philosophies. And I'm sitting there with my friend and I look at him and I go, he's talking about the same stuff that I'm always talking about. Like I've never met anybody in my life that's always talking about the things that I talk about. Like I've talked to people that agree with them, and they're like, yeah, I dig that. But not people that are really like, yes, like this is how it works. Destiny's the closest. Um, Pre-dream. I love you, Destiny. uh, and so it was really amazing to like meet a human who was out there like speaking the good word, like the good word of like of life, of like how reality works. And life has just been super expansive and juicy ever since. Um, it's just been super nice. There are times where like I found myself like blocked and stuck and like he can be a little bit harsh at times, which is like a little bit like offensive in the moment, because like I'll be like, "Oh, I'm stuck on this, blah 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 blah. I'm a victim." And, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says, "Well, get the fuck over it." And I'm like, get the, but my feelings, my emotions, my all this that I'm holding, my baggage, just let it go. Like, but it obviously means something to me, But like when you have that type of a response when you're basically being a big baby, it is very offensive. You're upset, you cry about it a little bit, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should just let it go. Uh, and it's really amazing what happens when you just like let all the shit go. Like just let it all go. Let the baggage go. Like drop it, let go, and like focus on what it is that you want. And I mean, a big part for me is like music. Like I was raised in, Sylvia, you said it, like in an alternative rock community. And like I hear it all the time. People are driving down the road and I can just hear their like really just crappy rock music playing out. And it's the alternative rock, it's the depressive rock, it's the like, oh, I'm in the closet wanting to kill myself. Like I'm like, why is this music? Like who listens to this? But it's actually very popular in East Idaho. So I had some like emotional issues growing up as a kid. And I mean, we all did, right? But like me, maybe specific, like especially. I left there and I started listening to my own music that's like good music. And I went on a road trip with my friend once, my friend Jeffrey, and we drove all the way to Chicago from Idaho. And my car only had a CD player, no Bluetooth. So my mom's like, "Oh, borrow my CD book." We just put in tape, hit next, hit next, hit next, hit next. We're like, "Dude, this music sucks." Jeffrey looks at me and he goes, "Dude, no wonder you were so messed up as a kid." And I'm like, right? So there's a rule and everybody knows it and thankfully respects it. But as soon as I walk into the room, they have to turn that stuff off. I cannot be around it. Like for 5 seconds, I'm like, no, like your music is like so low vibration. Like I get that there's a place for it, to like, I guess, help people who are going through their stuff. But I don't know, maybe just help people like feel seen in their stuff and stay stuck in it. I don't know. Like, it's music is really intense. It's really powerful. I have a very close person in my life who like just can't seem to be happy. Even though she's amazing, like she's such an amazing woman and she's like so beautiful and smart and talented and creative, but just like suffers with depression and like low self-esteem. And mom told me to go see this artist that was at a festival and I listened to it like one song and it was like called like Broken Family or some crap. And I'm like, I can't, mom. Like, why would you tell me to listen to this? And then I see this friend and she's wearing their sweatshirt with that band on it. And I'm like, you listen to that? And she's like, oh, they're my favorite. I love them. And I'm just like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Anyways, that's enough on music. I do love music though. Like Michael Franti is one of my favorites because he's so positive and awesome. Um, and nature though is a big thing for me in my everyday with like programming is just knowing that like Mama Gaia's got my back, she's got my feet, she's got my whole surrounding, she like fills my like lungs with air. And like nature is like all healing and all encompassing, and any form of nature just helps like ground me. Like I've got like a moss garden in my truck. It took Dream like, a few weeks to get used to that. I just kept collecting pieces of moss and sticks and like dried lavender and just adding them to the truck. He's like, so it's a forest. I'm like, it is. There's pine cones in the doors. Like, and I love it. Like I'll be in traffic somewhere and I just grab a pine cone, and it's like we're in LA, but I've got this pine cone in my hand and I'm like, yeah, like I'm connected to nature right now. Uh yeah, so I don't know. I know a lot about the subject and I'm super down to talk to anybody about it in a whole like lot more detail, and share different examples of things. But right now I feel like I am a little like blabbery. But I thank you all for your time and your attention, and I'm gonna pass the mic.
Wow, how crazy. That dream guy sounds totally hardcore. All right. Way to go, Stephanie. We'll talk later. Vienna, my dearest.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I'm loving these shares, loving the ideas, jotting down as fast as I can to add to my repertoire. One of my recent things that's been my BFF in self-programming is triggers. And it's like, oh, there you are. And then I go, okay, what's the prominent, what emotion is singing the loudest right now? Who's like, oh, overwhelming the rest of the band? And then I can't remember if I've described here before, but I have like a little Keebler elf tree and kind of go down some stairs and there's this little bar. It might be a hot cocoa bar one time or just whatever, it's but when that dominant emotion comes up, I go, come on in. It's kind of the friends bar, it's just like, come on in. What are you having? Pick your seat. You're the first one in. Anybody with you? And then, that maybe that's shame. And sure enough, blame came along. And so I just invite all emotions in. And so based on my teeny weeny understanding of Sedona method of welcoming. And so that's my current. Today it was several times. Something would come up and I'd go, ooh, that feels funny in my tummy. And I invite and just say, who else is coming? Who else is coming? Is that everybody? And if it wasn't, I'd wait and see who else showed up and invite them to come in and ask what they're having. And then the concept of 90 seconds to 2 minutes is usually how long it takes for an energy loop to close. And so this is something's been looping for decades, maybe. And then you just bring it in and just sit with it. Just sit and shoot the breeze with these emotions and let them be and let them know they're welcome anytime. And I'm so sorry for all that resistance in the past, but you're here now and I'm here now, and let's be. And then pretty soon they'll just get up and walk out. Okay, bye. Come back anytime. It's such a radically different thing. So that's maybe the unprogramming portion. Got to have some space to bring in the new, right? And then I'm really excited about this upcoming hypnosis class I'm going to take. And the instructor has said, first week of March, he said the first couple of days will be recognizing programming you've already got and releasing it. I'm going, oh my goodness, this is going to be so valuable. And then finding what it is we want to program in. So I'll let you know more after that. And as always, muscle testing has a role in here for me. So craziest thing tonight. So sometimes it's kind of like I listen closely when it's how much to water my plants, because I don't want to kill them. And then other times it's like I may ask, but I'm not really listening, or it'll cross my mind and I'll just turn and walk the other way. Like I'm aware it's training wheels, and totally believe that the time will come when I won't need the training wheels. Already sometimes I have a strong sense of what the answer is before I do the muscle testing. So, and I'm grateful for training wheels, for goodness sakes. It beats laying on the ground with my bike on top of me. So tonight it was, I left a meeting and I knew I had about an hour to get back for us all to meet. And it was like, often I would just drive home. I might ask which way to go, which is going to be the best way for me to go. But this time I was like, best to go straight home to my new wonderful home. No. I'm like, what? What else is possible? Will it involve spending money? Nope. Okay, so that cuts out food and grocery stores. Evidently, I'm not stopping to get anything to eat. So, I'm just asking questions, and everything's like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, am I still on a track, or am I just in a no zone? What's going on here? Yes, there's a track. Okay. So it's like, well, how about I start driving? I kind of wanted to get it settled before I started driving. And no. So, well, okay, I'm going to run out of time. How about I start driving? Yeah. 435. No. I-35. Yes. Get off on, I named the exits. Santa Fe. Okay, great. That's near where I used to live. Am I going back to get a few more things from where I used to live? No. Okay, let's see. And it was like, oh, do I go further than this landmark? Yes. Further than this landmark? Yes. It was like, oh, is it in this area? No. Okay, so I'm just going to keep driving. So I get into downtown Olathe by the courthouse, and I'm like, okay, I get that it's in this area, but I'm not seeing. I'm to go to the right, but there's nothing there but the courthouse and such. I don't get it. So I just pulled over and stopped I'm like, I don't want to get past it and have to turn around and come back. And just then a train goes by, and it was like, a block in front of me. I'm going, interesting. I am remembering counting railroad cars and engines and figuring out how many engines, how many cars per engine. And then it comes into my head, the other side of the tracks. And we lived on the other side of the tracks. Therefore, we always had to wait behind trains to get where we were going. And then I thought of the metaphor of the other side of the tracks. And I don't know that I always felt like we didn't have enough as a kid. I don't remember that. But certainly somewhere along the way, I became acquainted with the concept that I didn't feel like I had enough to do what I wanted to do or whatever. And so I invited not enough to come into the bar. Come here, have a seat. Who's with you? And just, 10, 15 emotions and thoughts showed up, and they all came in, and I had pulled the car over. I turned it off, and I just let that all play out. And that was like, am I done? Not yet. Okay. Anybody else need to come in? And a little more action. And then finally it was done. And I was like, now I go home? Yes. So that I was taken on an adventure just to reprogram. I was like, oh my goodness. And got there by muscle testing and asking questions and being curious. So that's one of my favorites.
Hello?
Uh-huh. Athena? Okay. And then when I'm aligning, I'm looking to be in alignment, right? And my big clue is I get giddy. I'm just like, oh, this is so exciting. And then finding what I want. For a long time, I didn't think I even could. I have any idea what I wanted, and I could tell what I didn't want. So Esther Hicks, find out what you don't want, find out what you do want. So that's been useful. And the new space I get to call home has 2 dogs and 3 cats. And so that's another lovely reprogramming, is sitting still enough that the cats will come and lay on me and purr. So it's just like, aw. So sound therapy via purring. It's just perfect. That's all I got. Thank you all.
Thank you, Vienna. I appreciate all of that. Athena, are you connected well enough tonight to speak? I can't hear you, but we did hear you for a moment there before. There you are. Nope, lost you. Okay. Well, it seems like you may be having some internet issues. We did all do a lovely, focused, energetic transference last week on your behalf. And we're all continue to send you good energy and loving thoughts and everything to assist you in your journey right now. Couple things I'd like to just move into before we close. And Athena, if things work out for you, please go ahead and jump in. We do have that group on Facebook, the It's All Good Circle. There's 24 of us in there, including most of us that are on right now. I'd like to invite you to be more interactive in that group. So once a week, I try and post something in there in addition to what I'm doing. I haven't been very good with that recently, but it can be a story. It can be a meme. It can be I just learned this great thing, or I just had this great experience, and it has to do with blah, 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 blah. Anyone else experiencing anything with blah, 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 blah? And that would be really, really great. I would like it to be more interactive. So I'm inviting us, those that feel called, to just think about it. Let's use social media as the beautiful tool that it can be. And so sort of drop whatever bullshit we hold about it being, doom scrolling, this, that, and the other. And instead of doom scrolling, go to the circle. Susie, when you post a story, one of your writings, post it the way you post it and everything, and then post it in the circle. That would be a great thing, but I would just like us to make use of it, rather than just having it sit there, or just having me be the one that is doing anything with it. Next week, I don't have the topic yet open to anything that comes to anyone's mind, or I'm actually, as you can tell, having quite a bit of fun coming up with topics these days. And so that is exciting. And we'll be coming to you live from Prescott, Arizona, one of our favorite places. And my brother and sister-in-law live there. And so that's exciting. And the week after that, we'll be in someplace else. So it's fun for us to take you along on this journey. Yeah. Quantum wellness recharge. Several of you in here, Destiny, Gail, Sylvie, Stephanie, Susie, Vienna, Athena, myself, actually, holy moly, all of us in here are participating in Quantum Wellness Recharge. We've rolled it out to the public. So if there's anyone that you would like to send the website to and say, hey, for $1, you can get the 1 week trial. And my comment is, what do you have to lose except maybe what you're choosing to lose? And that could be really powerful. Also, I could use some new testimonials. If anyone wants to send me a message with a new testimonial, I'm trying to post one every single day and get it out there. And I think it's such a challenging concept for people to understand that I'm finding that maybe coming from each of us that have had a positive experience with it, and having that be the way that it's getting shared. I don't know. But I'm open, and I really do feel that a week is long enough for someone to be able to have an experience that is, gives them an idea that they want to continue it, or however they want to do it. But they can, for $1, they can get something positive out of 1 week in the program. We have it right here with us, travels with us everywhere. I've got to have a special power source in my truck because it's got to be on 24 hours a day. And it's constantly sending frequencies. Some of you are getting frequencies 17, 18 hours a day. I looked at someone's earlier, and they were getting 17 one day, 12 another, 7 another, and it's checking in on each of us before it runs the frequencies to see where we're at and everything. And then I also have people reaching out to me and saying, oh, this is going on, working with a particular woman and her menstrual cycle right now. Because what a great opportunity, because ladies, happens every month, like what the drill is, so to speak. And so if the frequencies are going to change something, it would be something that you'd be able to notice. But getting all sorts of great feedback. I had a woman with a ovarian cyst contact me, and I ran the frequencies, and they were going to run for several hours. And 15 minutes later, she sent me a text, and she's like, wow, immediate relief. So it's it's amazing on so many levels, and the more people that get to experience it, the better. But it is a hard thing for people to understand. I get that. I even have, people contacting me after they've been on the site and they're like, I still don't quite understand what's going on here. And it's like, you don't really need to understand. If you can suspend your disbelief long enough and accept, allow, and receive, you'll get all the benefits from it without needing to know how things work in the quantum field and everything like that. If they want to really know how things work in the quantum field, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. But so anyway, let me know. I know Vienna sent some people to me, and Sylvie has sent someone to me. We're running frequencies on that person, and so yeah, it's just kind of a cool thing, and so I'm not going to say too much more about that. I'm thinking that we're nearing the close. It is 4 minutes to the hour, and yeah, I just this is, the circle is part of my self-programming also. And Sylvie, you mentioned that specifically, and I mentioned that setting it up was one of the things that was part of it, but actually participating in it, hearing everyone's stories, understanding the different aspects of how you all do things, and that we keep it all in an energetic of serving each other and keeping it at the highest level, means a lot to me, and I get quite a bit out of it each week. And so, as always, just sending you each so much love, and just flat out saying I love you. And you all mean so much to me, and this experience does. And I thank you for showing up each week, because I know it means that you must be getting out of it as much as I'm getting out of it. And so have an absolutely fabulous week. We have 4 events, 3 in Phoenix and 1 in Prescott next weekend. This is our new event. We've never done it before, so send us some positive energy with that. And Vienna, you want to say something?
Yes. An idea for next week, since Valentine's Day is in there somewhere. I have an older, wiser friend who came to realize this year that part of her angst with her daughter was that her daughter was saying, I love you, Mom, in a way that she didn't hear as I love you. She took it as criticism or something. And then she was loving her daughter in the way that she knew how to love, which is how she would have liked to receive love. And so someone helped her realize what her daughter was doing was, I love you. And she listened and remembered from her daughter's childhood how she seemed to appreciate love. And so when she started reaching out in that way to her daughter, so my invitation is, whether or not it's the topic for next week, to this week be noticing how you like to be loved, and noticing those around you whom you love. How could you express love to them this week that would be like over the top? Oh my gosh, they see me. So, idea.
Excellent. So I'll work up a topic around that. How to love and be loved, or how to, yes, let me think about it, but I'm liking where you're coming from, and you can't ever go wrong with love as a topic, that's for sure. So I love you all, and thank you all so much, and we will be back next week for another It's All Good Circle. Thanks all for being here. Have a great week.
Hugs and kisses.
Love you all. Good night.
Love you all.
Love you.